a lot of people in the United Kingdom want to go back home, and people back home want to come to the diaspora. So this phenomenon is quite interesting because I remember a time when I was in the UK, and every time I suggested to go back to Zimbabwe, it was met with a lot of resistance. To say, no, Zimbabwe is bad, you don't want to come here, things are breaking down, the economy, don't come. And I listened for about 10 years. But now, what I found interesting was when I went back to Zimbabwe and I got my returning resident stamp in my passport, I was more relaxed because previously, when I used to travel to Zimbabwe, it was more like a holiday. We get there, we relax, and then we're back after a couple of weeks. But this time, it was me in Zimbabwe, there to stay. So what I found interesting was people used to come to me in my neighborhood, and they'll sit down and ask, so what's the UK like? And I used to tell them the truth, like how it is on the ground and how really it is living there. But for some reason, they didn't believe me. Because they thought for some reason I'm trying to discourage them from going to the UK. In fact, there were so many people, some of them were, customers of mine. They used to buy chickens. They were saying, you know what, I am going to the UK no matter what. So it got me thinking, because on one hand, I'm also seeing a lot of people in the diaspora, especially those that came many years ago, around the same time that I came, which is 2001, they're building retirement homes in Zimbabwe, be it in the city, be it in rural, and they're doing a fantastic job. But the question now is, if diaspora is all that, why spend thousands and thousands of pounds or dollars building retirement homes back in Zimbabwe? Something is wrong, because we're having this situation where a lot of people want to retire back in Zimbabwe. A lot of people also want to come to the diaspora. So someone somewhere in the middle here is not telling the truth or is lying. And the lying part of it is not necessarily something that's blatant, but from the way I see things, people in the diaspora, of course we use social media now, they have this tendency of taking pictures on holiday, and these holidays, be it in Spain, France, all these European countries. But when these pictures are taken, it's not the full picture, because holidays in Europe are very cheap. Very, very cheap. I mean, the expensive ones are if you're traveling back to Africa. I mean, try and travel from UK to Zimbabwe, UK to Ghana, UK to Nigeria, and see how much it costs. It costs a lot of money as compared to traveling to Spain or traveling to France and so on. So these pictures are posted on social media. They are posted on WhatsApp. And as people are watching these pictures and these videos of the diasporans on holiday, what the diasporans don't realize is indirectly you're advertising that life is good. And I'm not saying life is not good. Life may be good, but that's the picture that people back home are getting. And as a result, no matter what we say or no matter what advice you give, they don't care. They still want to come anyway, even though they don't really understand how things really are. So the reason why I'm saying this is because I've sat down with, I would say 4, 5, even 6 people. And my story here is based on experience. It's not based on what I've heard. People were actually, one guy, he had a very good job. The wife had a business in Zimbabwe. They were living, well. They even had a flat. So what happened? Somehow, someone convinced them that it was a good idea to sell their flat and then go and work in the United Kingdom. And they were advised that if they sell that flat, they'll be able to buy another one within 6 months of working in the UK. And this, by the way, is through this COS stuff, that's quite popular right now. So before this happened, I told the guy, I said, listen, you're making a very big mistake. You won't be able to buy the house. I said, look, I've been in the UK for 23, 24 years, and I was not able to buy a house. Not because I didn't want to, But because at the end of the day, you have a life to live, you've got bills, you've got expenses, you've got children. You cannot have that and also buy a house. By the way, I'm not on a high salary, so I'm just an average guy. So unless you're going to the UK as a doctor or as an engineer where you're getting paid a lot of money, maybe you might be able to pull it off and buy a house within 6 months, which I highly doubt anyway. So that guy now, after a couple of months, he decided to go to the United Kingdom. And things are not good for them. They're complaining of long hours. Even the relationship is not actually very good as we speak, because the wife is not happy, and they're kind of like in a situation where they're stuck, because to really pack your bags and go back to Zimbabwe after selling the land, boy, I mean, you can just imagine what situation that is. So when people in the diaspora here make these videos and pictures on holiday, everyone is happy, smiling by the seaside. Indirectly, you're advertising that life is good in the UK and this is the best place to be. And sometimes you get frustrated why we're being asked for money and we need to send money back home. It's because of what we're projecting back home. It's because of the lifestyle we're saying we're living. You see, with me, I'm real. I don't post pictures necessarily. Maybe it's because I have a bit of knowledge in marketing, because a picture tells 1,000 words. Now imagine a video. This is no joke. So when you look at now people coming here, and by the way, maybe what I'm saying is all nonsense. I would like to hear in the comments box below, those that have left Zimbabwe, sold their property to come here and do nursing or care work. How is life? Is this what you envisioned? Is this what you thought it would be? Are you happy? Anyway, I would like to hear that in the comments box below. But anyway, so what I also realized as I was speaking to a lot of people in Zimbabwe on the ground, they were asking me, but no, the UK can't be that bad, it can't be that bad. How come you managed to buy a house, you managed to do this, you managed to do that? Well, when I was saying to them that, look, I'm in a different situation, I have my own business, and also I had to work so hard to get to that. It doesn't mean that I've always had it easy. Right now, as we speak, I have a permanent back problem from working in warehouses. Permanent back problem. Can you imagine that? Lifting boxes and loading trucks and all of that. I've been through all of that. So it's not like I haven't lived the harsh life for me to be speaking the way I'm speaking, because sometimes people say I'm speaking from a place of privilege. But I've done everything here, But anyways, so most people that have their life settled in the United Kingdom, they have worked their way up. I think I've mentioned in a previous video that if someone came in 2000 or 2001, okay, this is 2025 now, they've probably made a lot of mistakes, financial mistakes. They've fixed that. They probably had a mortgage. It's almost about to be paid off. They have a car. The car is about to be paid off. And they have had some promotions at work, and they've also been studying. Maybe they started off as a nurse, but now they're in whatever band, C, D. I don't know whatever bands they are. And in fact, basically what I'm trying to say is they've worked their way up, and now they're in a position to do quite a few things back home, build a retirement home, and so on and so forth. So people are looking at someone like that, or at someone like me, who has a house in Zimbabwe, and they're saying, no, if you can do it, then I want to go there so I can buy my own house. But one factor that we are missing out here is it took me 24 years for me to achieve what I've achieved right now. Whereas you want to start from scratch, like right now, in your 40s, in your 30s. It's crazy. It's not even the same thing. So this brings me down to, when I look at all this in the bigger picture, this is all mainly through emotions that people are making this kind of decisions, because it doesn't make any sense at all to sell property back in Zimbabwe and then hope that you're going to work and then buy a bigger house. It's crazy. So for those of you who are in Zimbabwe, who are in Africa, who have a property or who has a decent income, you really have to consider and calculate all your options, and do seek some advice from a lot of people, because it is not what it seems to be. Because I cannot even tell you how amazing it is when I'm in Zimbabwe, or any African country, by the way, because I've been in Gambia and I loved it there. It was fantastic. It was the first African country that I visited. It was brilliant because you feel at home. Because when you are in the diaspora for so many years, we take a lot of things for granted. You know, just meeting people, speaking your language, and just being amongst people that you can relate to is a huge deal. It's a big deal. So I'm sure some of you have seen my video I did with Wadamaya when I first got back to Zimbabwe after so many years, and that his videos also inspired me. I was genuinely happy, you know, to be back home. And to be honest with you, I'm still happy. You know, that passion is amazing. The feeling of just being back home is phenomenal. And I could not trade it for anything. So when we have this passion about building back home or wanting to be back home, it doesn't necessarily mean that UK is so bad. But all I'm saying is it has taken time for us to be in the position where you have a fully paid mortgage or you have a property back in Zimbabwe. Selling property in Zimbabwe to come to the UK, especially in your 30s or 40s, I don't think that's a good idea. But anyway, that's my opinion. People have different opinions. So as diasporans, I think we have a very big problem as well of trying to market a lifestyle that is not real. Because when you take pictures on a brand new X5 or a Range Rover and stuff like that, people back home are assuming that these cars are being bought cash. But that's not the case. I mean, you and me know that. It's not cash. When people are showcasing their houses and all of that, and they're massive and beautiful inside, someone in Zimbabwe or back in Africa is looking at their house in probably a high density and thinking, oh my goodness, I'm a failure in life. You know, look at my house and look at this guy. We went to school together and he has a massive house. He's in the UK. He's driving a brand new car. Here, I can never dream of driving a brand new car. That is because here, credit is very accessible. You can have brand new things on credit. You don't even have to do much. All you need to do is to maintain a good credit rating, and also to pay your bills on time to maintain that credit rating. And if you have a stable job, pretty much you can get a loan, or you can even get money to do all sorts of things. And sometimes even the houses being built back in Zimbabwe, they're not being built by money saved. You know, this could be loans as well. So it's not as straightforward as people trying to make it seem, that I'll just come in the UK, work a couple of months, and then go back to Zimbabwe or go back to Africa with enough money to buy a brand new house. There's taxes here. There is a lifestyle that you need to maintain. Things are expensive. The cost of living is totally different. You know, your gas bill, your electric bill is totally different to your electric bill when you're in Zimbabwe. You know, it's totally different. So these are the sort of things that you need to weigh out before you decide to go to the UK. Maybe you're actually in a better off situation right now, wherever you are, than you are going to be when you come to the UK, because the quality of life in the UK is totally different. Here, people work like crazy. If we had the same work ethic in the diaspora and we applied this in Zimbabwe, I'm telling you, or in Africa, I'm telling you, Africa will be so advanced and so productive in a way that you can never imagine. Anyway, I would like to hear your thoughts. This is what I think in regards to the UK lifestyle versus people who want to leave their country or their countries in Africa or Asia to come to the UK. It's not as simple as, oh, I'll just go and make it. And like I said, sometimes you may be pushed to make an emotional decision based on the pictures and the stuff you see on social media. You know, it's different. It's totally different. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments box below. As always, these are my opinions, my observations. I'd like to also hear what you think in the comments box below. Until next time, thanks for watching. And by the way, head over to ruwaorganic.com. I'm creating a community of like-minded people there. If you sign up, let's have our discussions there and help each other up, help each other to become successful and better. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again in the next one. Take care.